Citizens of Israel hit the streets against the proposed changes in the system. The proposed law has been put on hold. But amid the raging protests in Israel, we also saw a certain section in India celebrating the protests and drawing a comparison to India, wishing upon a similar protest in India as well, a civil unrest in India.
They've been trying it for many years now, Sanika, especially after the Modi government came in. And it's not the first time that they've been putting out tweets, statements, wishing for civil unrest, calling for civil unrest. In the last few years, comparisons have also been drawn between India, the situation in India, and many instances of global unrest. They made comparisons to the Black Lives Matter, the Capitol Hill siege, the Sri Lanka protest, most recently the Israel protest, being cases in point. Now, are these comparisons valid? And why are some very desperate for civil unrest in India? Is it all linked to the build-up to the 2024 elections? That's our weekend debate this evening.
In mid-March, the streets of Tel Aviv were flooded with protesters who staged demonstrations against Netanyahu's judicial overhaul. Netanyahu was forced to pull back. The law is on hold. But a section in India tried drawing parallels. But this is not the first time. During Black Lives Matter protests in the US, or the Capitol Hill siege, or even the situation in Sri Lanka, comparisons have been drawn with no concrete basis. In the run-up to 2024, is there an attempt to whip up a frenzy with sweeping statements?
The institutional framework which is required for a democracy, parliament, the free press, the judiciary, just the idea of mobilization, just the idea of moving around, these are all getting constrained. So we are facing an attack on the basic structure of Indian democracy.
A claim countered by the Prime Minister.
कुछ लोग देश के भीतर है और कुछ देश के बाहर भी बैठकर अपना काम कर रहे हैं। ये लोग लगातार कोशिश करते रहे हैं कि किसी तरह मोदी की इमेज को दुबिल कर दें। लेकिन आज भारत के गरीब, भारत का मध्यम वर्ग, भारत के आदिवासी, भारत के दलित, पिछड़े, हर भारतीय आज मोदी का सुरक्षा कवच बना हुआ है।
The pattern to inject unrest be dismissed? Let's debate.
And joining us on the weekend debate this evening are Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson, former parliamentarian of the BJP, Kovai Satyan, spokesperson of the AIADMK, R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist, joining us live from New Delhi. Karan Verma is an author and political analyst, joining us live from the national capital. Karthik Reddy, spokesperson of the BRS. Shyam Prasad Meka, leader of the Congress party from Hyderabad. Kapil Madan, advocate, political analyst from Delhi. And Professor Manojit Mandal will be joining us in the course of the debate. He's a political analyst joining us live from Kolkata. Now let me start with you, Karthik. Karthik, why do some parties, actually my question would be apt if Shyam takes it first, because his party has been hoping and they play a central role every time there's a civil unrest. I'm not saying that. Historically, you see what happened during the farmers' protest, Shyam. Congress was at the forefront. Of course, Aam Aadmi Party was also there. Most political parties gave the fodder, right? They were giving a surround sound. But in Israel, was very surprised to see Chidambaram tweet on it and make comparisons to Israel, saying that India should be watching closely, etc. Now, the larger point is, every time there is civil unrest somewhere in the world, comparisons are drawn to India. We're okay. Everything is fine in India, but they want civil unrest. And I'm specifically talking about the Congress party. How does it benefit your party, Shyam?
So, Nilanjan, first point, there are a lot of assumptions in what you are saying. See, there is not, it's not the question of benefit or political benefit to anybody. The simple thing is, as a democratic society and as a party that led the freedom struggle with civil unrest or civil disobedience as one of the tools, we see anyway a involved citizenry who comes out and brings out their voice against the powers. That's a welcome sign for the democracies anywhere. We can talk about individual issues. See, for example, you just mentioned only Israel. In the last couple of weeks, you see people coming out onto the streets in France against the pension reforms. There are people coming out against the tampering with the judicial independence in Israel. These are good things for any society. That doesn't mean anybody is giving a call to the people to come out onto streets and create a situation of civil unrest in our own country. The point is the involved citizenry, the people, middle class, who can afford to think about the issues of the country and the society, need to form their opinions and need to express their opinion. Then only a democracy will flourish. That's a good sign anywhere. For example, I'll tell you a simple thing. If somebody does some achievement in space technology in some other country, we all celebrate it because it's not a celebration of that country's achievement or anything. As human beings, we are collectively taking the next leap in our advancement. That's what everybody need to do. If somebody does some great medical advancement in Germany, we should be happy about it because as human rights, that's what we are doing. Similarly, in the political front, any citizens of any country, if they stand up and live by the values of democracy, that's a good sign for everybody in the world. So why not? And linking that to the politics of this country and trying to brand any parties or any individuals, say as a sort of anti-India or pro some other countries, that's not fair. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Meka mentioned this protest in France as well while we were talking about Israel as well. And I would like to take my question to Dr. Syed Zafar Islam. What the Western media describes them, and even certain sections on social media describe these protests as protests against the far right-wing governments, and that is why probably these sections of media are celebrating these protests. So, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, do you think that there is a certain section that is celebrating these protests because of this so-called tag of far right-wing protests against far right-wing governments? Do you see a pattern in this?
See, in India, the protest is primarily from the few opposition parties, more particularly the Congress party. I heard the Congress spokesperson. Can you just get it corrected?
Yeah.
This voice is coming.
Okay, we'll just fix that.
Voice is coming back to me.
We'll just fix that. Keep speaking. You can just take off your earphones for a few seconds and maybe keep speaking, and we'll fix it on the go. I believe it's fixed. Go on. It's fixed.
Yeah. So let me just start again. So all I was trying to tell you that I heard the Congress spokesperson talking about the democracy. First of all, everyone must understand that India is the mother of all democracies, and people have learned from India. They see India as a template when they have to really speak about the democracy and the democratic values what India follows. But when you go, and he was referring to an individual, everyone knows who is the individual. It is Rahul Gandhi. When he travels abroad, he chooses to target India, his own nation, his own country, and malign the image of India. That is not democracy. That is not democracy when you are putting India in the dock in foreign land. We have always maintained that whenever you have an issue with the government, you must raise this issue. You must speak up. We put us in the dock. There is absolutely no problem. That is part of the democracy. You can protest it. You can do as far as within the framework, whatever you want to do, you must do. But when you go out in the foreign land and speak about it and make a statement which is factually incorrect, that is something which needs to be examined. And people must understand that it is not that is unintentional. It is by design that he is making a statement and asking many other countries to support his stand. And recently we have seen that one such country, Germany, partly had supported him. But that India is now a very strong nation, and we understand that India is no longer a nation where you can bully India. We have a strong leadership. We have a strong market. We have a very weak market. We have a very vibrant democracy. And nobody can bully us, is something which we have been able to demonstrate under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister.
Yeah.
People, if they do not follow the democratic values, and if they criticize us, then we must also put them in the dock by asking them that Parliament, why are you not letting the Parliament function? Is Rahul Gandhi more important, or is the Parliament where the business will be transacted for the benefit of the people of this great country? If you are really sincere about and sensitive about the democratic values, then the temple of democracy is the Parliament, where the interests of the common man on the street is being safeguarded through policy and various initiative by the government. Unfortunately, the place where the issues need to be discussed of common man is not being discussed purely because they do not follow the democratic values. They do not believe in democracy, and they want to disrupt the Parliament. In India, I must tell you, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, both by the global community and by the people of this great country, barring few, they have experienced, they have seen in their own ways that what is the democracy and what is the democratic values, on how it should be implemented for the betterment of the society. And that is what the Honorable Prime Minister has championed it and has demonstrated it, and has become a role model for many other countries. And of course, his popularity is rising in India purely because he is following those footsteps which needs to be followed while following the democratic values.
Okay, now I saw Karthik was very excited. Karthik wanted to come in, and Shyam has been raising his hand, and Kapil Madan also watching intently. Manojit Mandal has just joined us, but I think you just went a little off track there, Zafar, because you know this debate is about those parties that are very happy about the politics of civil unrest. They want civil unrest. They want people to come out on the streets, but sadly for them, there is no reason for that, at least in what we have seen so far. For example, I'll tell you some recent examples we have seen. Zafar, wait, I'm going to Karthik, okay?
Let me just...
Zafar, wait, I'll give you a chance.
I'll just add...
Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds, complete your point, because I want to bring the others in. Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds, complete your point.
No, all I was trying to tell, to convey the message that in democracy, you can protest, but protest for the purpose of to only your voice should be heard. But in India, your voice is heard, and you are given representation. You have a representation in the Parliament. You can speak about all these issues inside the Parliament. But they want disruption in the Parliament, and outside they want to create friction within the society.
No, 1 minute.
And that is something which is very, very dangerous. And that is something which is very, very dangerous. And we as a government will never let them pursue their objective, because it is against the democratic values and against the social fabric of the society.
Okay, see, I'll give you a few examples, Karthik. I know you want to come in, but a few examples to you, okay, Karthik? See what happened on the Agniveer issue, right? Some in the opposition, I'm not saying your party, I'm not saying A party, B party, I'm saying most parties confused the hell out of everyone when the Agniveer violence happened. Remember, a lot of that violence was also in Telangana, right? A lot of it was completely misguided. People were misguided. Like in the case of farmer protests, okay, the government buckled, farmers' protests ended, right? Even in the case of Delhi riots, they confused the hell out of people on CAA, right? It happened. No, one second.
Yes.
Now, my point is, why is it that some in the opposition are extremely excited about large-scale unrest?
Niranjan, coming to the subject of Agniveer or even the matter of CIA, I believe the government itself was confused. The people were not confused, the opposition were not confused. The government itself was confused in shaping the policy and letting it be. And that is a very good example how they took back the farm laws, because we have been saying the farm laws are not good for the country. We have also been saying even the Agniveer matter should have been held better than what it was finally brought out as. While we were, I was sitting silently, I heard Mr. Islam speak. He was asking the opposition parties to let the parliament work. I should remind him through your channel that it was the BJP which was stalling the parliament and not anybody else. They took the whole parliament for hostage for a good 1 week or 10 days, asking Rahul Gandhi to apologize. So it was the BJP which was actually taking the whole house into a hostage. Another point now. Let's come back to the civil unrest point, if I may, Niranjan. See, I strongly believe India is too civilized to have a civil unrest. People who want to talk about civil unrest, let me remind you what a civil unrest is. This country, the Republic of India, hardly had any civil unrest. If I can take you back, it was maybe during the partition of this country. We have gone through a civil unrest. Maybe a few days during the emergency. We as Indians are too civilized to have a civil unrest, Niranjan. But what we can have is a civilized unrest. As people who are so logical as Indians that we are, we use our logic and we use our democratic rights to show the civil unrest in us. Right now in this country, there is a problem with inflation. Right now in this country, there is a problem with our economy. Right now in this country, there's a problem with job formation or unemployment. So these are the problems that India is facing. Obviously, there will be some unrest. Calling it a civil unrest would be a far-fetched idea. But I strongly say there is an unrest which is civilized in this country.
You know, Karthik, you're talking about a civil unrest and civilized unrest, and you're saying that the opposition cannot be blamed for it. And with that, we also had a response. We had a tweet from Mr. Kapil Sibal this morning, where he said that as we approach 2024, for the BJP, on the table are issues like communal violence, hate speech, baiting minorities, target opposition by use of ED, CBI, Election Commission, while and the trailer of it being burning of Bengal, stoking communal violence in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat. You know, don't you think that there's sort of a wish in the opposition that there is an anarchy on the streets? And we will come back to you, Karthik, with that. But I would also like to bring in R. Rajgopalan, who is very patiently listening to this debate. Mr. Rajgopalan, when I'm talking about the situation in Bengal also in the last few days, is the BJP also equally responsible for sort of the situation that is being created across in Bengal or even in other parts of the country in terms of anarchy being unleashed?
Equally, madam, the opposition parties are also responsible. There is an unrest in the mental balance of some few opposition leaders. My understanding is why it started all in 2023, this unrest syndrome. Unrest syndrome in India is instigated by foreign hands. George Soros, Hinton report, what is that? That I cannot pronounce properly because I don't know that much of the BBC. London visits of political leaders, bringing down of Indian flag in our missions. These are all instigated. And the unrest in West Bengal, as you know very well, things are under control now. Mamata Banerjee has handled it very well. And moreover, my understanding is the political unrest in the mind of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He cannot see Mr. Narendra Modi in the Prime Minister's seat. The amount of revengeful attitude, he misused the platform of Parliament when he was called to address the Parliament on the motion of thanks to the President. But he took the privilege of parliamentarian as a parliamentarian and started to criticize Adani and support GVK, GMR, whatever that. Apart from that, a new trend of unrest is seen in the state assemblies. Example, yesterday Arvind Kejriwal passed a resolution in Delhi Assembly. Inside the assembly, you get a privilege. Parliamentarians, MLA or MP, they can speak anything. They can create unrest. they can undo the unrest, everything. For example, Telangana, the chief minister is intentionally having a fight with the governor. And moreover, in Tamil Nadu, there is an unrest between the chief minister and the governor because Tamil Nadu is having some problems. And second thing, why this 23 unrest? When India has faced 2021 corona, there was no unrest at that time. 250 crore Indians were inoculated. When there was an unrest and a big war between Ukraine and Russia, still it is going on. And at the peak of the war, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Mr. Putin and brought out 25,000 students. So this whole unrest is artificially manufactured, politically engineered. My understanding is unrest is in the minds of opposition, not in the mind of ruling party, because they are having 303, 75% of Indians, especially during any public opinion or national mood survey is shown, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tops. And the other, fringe parties come below 50%.
Now, let me tell you something. You spoke of a pattern. There is a pattern. We have seen there is a pattern. I'll tell you, for example, right? In the Delhi riots, for example. Okay, Karan, before you come in, I just want to get Manojit Mandal and you can respond to Manojit, right? In the Delhi riots, we saw a pattern. We saw that a set of people with similar ideology, similar thought, similar motivation were speaking in every nook and corner of Delhi, especially the areas where the riots took place. They were hand in glove with the rioters, okay? Even what the court said a few days back, that some of these people, right, who wanted to break Assam from the rest of India, etc., etc., the courts have said they were at the forefront of the violence, and they're the same people that opposition parties, or some in the opposition, kept backing in tweets day in and out, right? Now, also there's a link.
Shaheen Bagh.
Yeah, there's also a link. Shaheen Bagh, we saw how many political leaders, political parties, mainstream parties
Same
went and sat there.
Farmers' agitation.
Yeah, wait. Now, the pattern is, you spoke of a pattern. Some of those people...
No.
1 minute, Manojit, one second. Manojit, this is not a reference to you or the TMC. One second. Hear my question. Some of these people who are named by the courts or are under the scanner are direct beneficiaries also of companies or groups run by George Soros. Okay? And I'm trying to make a larger point. Listen to me carefully, Manojit. Okay? Some of them are linked to George Soros in one way or the other.
Yes.
Okay? And then you have a very interesting time in Indian politics when we're running into 2024, and you have someone coming as the US ambassador to India, right? He spoke of CAA, etc. He was openly in favor of the protests, etc., whatever was happening in India back then, right? Now this man, it appears prima facie from our research. Now, he's a democratic leader, and it appears that he, through his initiatives, etc., has received large amounts of money directly from George Soros. Right? I'm making a larger point. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm saying we're heading to perhaps very, very, very interesting times in Indian politics. Manojit Mandal.
Yes, I'll respond. No, I was listening to my BJP's friend talking about agitational politics and anarchy practiced by the opposition. I mean, look, the devil is speaking now. What they have been doing in Bengal for the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm giving you the dates. 2021, before the assembly election, during the Navanna Vijan, they came with swords. 2022 September 8th probably date, not even 6 months before. Again they came up with swords and guns in the name of Navanna Vijan. Police vehicles were torched. Even your channels were showing that 3 police officers were fatally injured, including 1 assistant commissioner. And day before yesterday, in the name of the procession of Ram Navami, again they came up with swords and guns by destroying public properties, by destroying people's properties. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Mandal.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
No,
yes.
he's finding it unusual because no one's interrupted him. It's a very simple
So the
debate.
BJP is talking about peaceful protest, by the opposition is like devil is advocating for the angel. I mean, look at this. You are talking about Shaheen Bagh, CAA protest. You could not prevent those riots under your nose. While 50 people were killed, Mr. Amit Shah. I am asking you. You are talking about Bengal riots, quote unquote. What happened in last 2 days? There is failure of intelligence. Luckily, no life was not a single person was injured. Despite the fact that it is a conspiracy, I repeat, and saying this with full responsibility, it's a conspiracy hatched by BJP and some of their frontal organizations to burn Bengal. Nothing, you could do nothing, because Bengalis and the people of Bengal, they know how to cohabit. They have learned it for years to live together peacefully. You have been trying to destroy our peace for the last 3-4 years. Ever since you wanted to grab power in Bengal. People of Bengal replied. People of Bengal will, and the people of India will reply in 2024. Riots, maximum riots have taken place, I repeat, have taken place in BJP ruled state. Karnataka, Gujarat, Maharashtra, UP and Madhya Pradesh. Please look at the NCRB data. But the fact remains, in the Niranjan, you talk about democracy, federalism, you have singled out certain opposition ruled state, especially Bengal. When it even comes to sending teams, yesterday only you sent teams, but no teams are sent to Maharashtra, no teams are sent to Gujarat, no teams are sent to UP. We have seen even during the time of pandemic. When Bengal was not even seeing 5,000, 6,000
Mr. Mandal, I would like to differ from the point you are making.
You're going off track a little bit.
Mr. Mandal, you've been saying that we are not covering the riot.
Governance because you are jealous of
Manoj, that we will talk. Separate subject.
Governance, you are trying to disturb our peace by using government machinery. This NCPCR was making a manufacturing story on your channel that you are picking up. Oh my God, the police have issued statement.
No, but I think, Manoj, but this debate is not about that. I think you missed my larger point.
BJP NCPCR. What kind of NCPCR
you missed my larger point.
I am not missing the larger point, Niranjan. I am talking about federalism. I am talking about democratic polity of this country, which is in deep danger because of BJP's one-sided rule by using governmental machinery as tools of oppression. ED, CBI, income tax, even this chairperson human rights, I now see him on the screen. What is his name? This Priyank. What is his name? Why is he become the chairperson of the NCPCR? I want to understand. He is frightening. He's frightening people by telling lies.
You're going off track. This is not a debate about NCPCR, Manojit. Manojit, we'll debate that later.
I'm not going off track.
We'll debate that later. Why are we talking about NCPCR now?
And how they are destroying democratic institutions in the country. How they are destroying. Yes, everything. They have destroyed.
Direct your anger on the right debate. Now we'll have another debate tonight. I promise you we'll have another debate.
Advantage of that.
That is part of
Okay, Zafar. I'm getting Zafar. Because you said a lot, Zafar wants to come in. Zafar, 30 seconds. I want to take the debate on track after that.
The person is manufacturing lies about Bengal police beating.
Okay. Now pull back on this. This is completely. This is not on our debate. No, we are not talking about that on the debate. Manojit, I promise you we'll take that up on a different debate, but this debate is not about that. I want Zafar to respond 30 seconds and then we'll go back to the debate.
I think anybody who knows TMC, they know TMC is a party of goons and gangsters. And they get protection from no one but the government itself. And the Chief Minister provides all the protection, the state and district administration give them full kind of support and protection. And everywhere within the state, they have targeted innocent BJP karyakartas and workers. All along, last several years, many of our karyakartas have died because of the injuries inflicted by these goons of TMCs. And now they are blaming us. Don't we have the right to have a peaceful protest? Don't we have right to have a peaceful march? Or even the celebration, Ramnami celebration? But you purposely targeted, and Mamata Banerjee as the Chief Minister had made the announcement well in advance that you will be targeted if you do this, you do that. Those were only bahana. But she was clearly indicating that something will happen to people who are trying to celebrate Ramnami peacefully.
Okay. Okay, we're sort of diverting the
See
debate.
what kind of a statement he is making.
I think we should come back to our main topic. Yes.
Sanika. No, we'll redirect the talk. No,
Mr. Zafar Islam and Mr. Manojit Mandal, I hope we are settling this here on the clashes that are taking place and the violence in Howrah is another debate altogether. But what we're talking about right now is about the civil unrest and the entire paraphernalia that is being there is an attempt at whipping up a frenzy just before the 2024 elections. And I would like to take Mr. Kovai, I would like to take this question to Mr. Kovai Satyan. Mr. Kovai Satyan, who has been very patiently on this debate for the last few minutes. Mr. Kovai Satyan, in fact, when we've seen in the last few years, especially since 2019, there has been the Ayodhya verdict, there has been the anti-CAA protests that we've witnessed, Shaheen Bagh, Delhi riots, farmers' protest, and so on and so forth. We've seen this entire playbook or the toolkit that has, that has come to play. Is there an attempt, is there certain sections of political parties or even what we would like to call unelectables who are trying to create a civil unrest like situation so as to benefit some politically?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity after 45 minutes. I'm in the role of summarizing this now. Let's have the understanding that the ideology of political parties are not the same. But when it comes to alliance, what unites them is the single most important factor that people are watching. As far as India is concerned, the uniting point is nation first. When we talk about nation, the people comes first. This is what the uniting force. So when we as a regional party, when we ally with the NDA, what is the benefit for my state, for my people comes first, while I uphold the sanctity and democracy of our nation. But what comes to the opposition, UPA, whom they call as united, it is not nation first. It is Parivarvad first. It is dynasty first. So anything to do with challenging the judiciary or challenging the democratic principles, challenging the events that unfolds in this country is to benefit the dynasty. Each and every regional player who are grooming their third generation or fourth generation to take over the parties, to run the state, the agenda is self, not nation or not people. So quoting Pakistan or quoting Sri Lanka or quoting Israel or quoting any civil unrest across other nations who are still learning to be a democratic nation and trying to instigate people here saying that, see, they have gone on streets, you please protest. And putting the democracy at the backstage for their own personal Parivarvad benefits is what happening right now. So call for civil unrest will definitely not happen in India or definitely not happen in this nation because people are more educated and they have seen many more narratives, failed narratives by the UP and government, starting from what and all you could call the Prime Minister and what and all you could throw the mud on the judiciary. Even judiciary is not spared now.
Niranjan, I mean, this monologue you're giving, uninterrupted time
this is so unfair.
Kapil, I'm giving you time here, Kapil. Everyone is getting time. If you haven't noticed, yeah, even Karan hasn't spoken. 1 minute, Kapil. Karan also hasn't spoken here. Once, calm down. I told you everybody will get their turn to speak. I promised you that at the beginning of the debate. Why are you so angry? You want civil unrest in the debate, is it?
The gentleman makes, false allegations without any, iota of evidence. He's just, going on and on.
You can respond to him, take down notes. Take down notes. See, you have a pen.
Yes.
You have a pen. Take down on a sheet of paper and rebut him once and for all.
Now, allow me to make a very quick response to him. Now, the problem with, the so-called cheerleaders of the BJP is...
Does the gentleman need evidence?
Sir.
Let him talk.
Now, he's again speaking. Niranjan, this is not the way debate happens.
Okay.
This gentleman is just, speaking. I think he's not using his ears. For a debate, you need your mouth as well as your ears. No. I mean, it's your turn.
You should have used your ears when he was speaking. No, then you could have heard him out. He's also irritated. He's hitting back. But please pull back, all of you.
Now, Niranjan, the problem is that back in the time when UPA was in power, when there were, protests, nobody used to call the protests as anti-national or, a conspiracy orchestrated by, some foreign agency or a policy. Now, is it not a fact that the BJP was supporting the Jan Lokpal movement? Is it not a fact that the BJP was at the forefront and it was corruption and the black money was the biggest political plank, they played when they contested 2014? What happened? 2G was the main case on the basis of which they fought. While my friend, here, I don't know which party he belongs to. Now he wants to talk about dynasty and he wants to talk everything, but he doesn't want to talk about the facts and the data. What happened in the 2G case? It has fallen flat on its case. The case was dismissed and, the entire political plank of the BJP vanished. What happened thereafter? What are the government's effort to bring back the black money? Back then they used to say, black money has been slashed abroad. What have they done to recover the black money? There is nothing, no substantial work that has done. Now, my friend wants to talk about dynasty. Does he know the name of the leaders who are so-called dynasts in the BJP? How many BJP leaders have political and, family lineage? And he wants to talk about dynasty of a particular party, and while he wants to conveniently leave the leaders who comes from a political families in the BJP. Now, my third point, historically, Niranjan, if you see, BJP opposed Aadhaar when Aadhaar bill was introduced. BJP opposed food security bill that was introduced. Now they are the one now who are advocating and calling the benefits of these schemes as their own brainchild, etc. Back then when they were opposing, no one used to call them anti-national. No one used to say that this is because the opposition wants to create an unrest.
Who's called who?
The problem is the problem with the BJP is they are afraid because they know that they have not delivered the stuff. They have failed on all the political promises. And while someone who seeks a reform, and let me also tell you, under the Constitution of India, seeking a reform is your constitutional duty. So if someone is insisting on that constitutional duty, they have a problem. If someone questions the government, they call them it's anti-India. So this is a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, but just like you mentioned all the U-turns. Yesterday, classic example of the Vadra Congress making the U-turn. Who wanted a new parliament building in 2012? Who wanted a new parliament building in 2012?
Now?
U-turns. Don't talk about U-turns. We'll have a separate debate for that. We'll need a 2-hour debate for that. 2-hour debate. I'm getting Karan Verma. Karan Verma.
Nilanjan, I have patiently waited for everyone.
Yes.
So I hope I am allowed an uninterrupted 2 minutes.
Please don't heckle him. No civil unrest on the debate, Kapil.
Yeah, please. I want to rebut every claim that my good friend Kapil has made. He's raised some very good points. Kapil, people of India are able to see through which movement is credible and which movement is not. And that is where you miss the details. When the Congress party in its 2019 manifesto says that we will repeal the APMC Act, and then they come out on streets and oppose the farm laws, the same farm laws, then people are able to see through that. When you resort to vandalism, the kind you resorted to on 26 January during the farm protests, people know that this is a phony movement. When the Shaheen Bagh protests happened in CAA, people know that it was Tarun Gogoi, the president of the Assam Pradesh Congress Committee, who had submitted a memorandum saying that the persecuted minorities in Bangladesh and Pakistan deserve to be rehabilitated. When Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said this on the floor of the parliament, people know that when you oppose it now, you are a phony act. People look through this misinformation. People look through this propaganda. And Niranjan, what kind of protests are these where you have illegal blockades in Shaheen Bagh and Singur border? You lose tens of thousands of crores of public exchequer money. And that has been pointed out by no less than ASSOCHAM and various judicial committees. That exposes the veracity of these movements. That shows that the opposition today is intellectually and ethically bankrupt. And they're ready to latch on to anything just for political gain. And alas, they don't even gain politically out of it because people are smart enough to look through it. So the truth is, there is no civil unrest. The opposition is trying to manufacture one, and in the process, they are having an unrest in their own parties. They can't get their own house in order, and the BJP is laughing at them. But we citizens are suffering from that. We need a constructive opposition so that we can have some balance in our polity.
So, yeah, I think I would like to get in. I would like to get in Karthik here because he was because Karan was speaking about constructive opposition. Karthik, do you think the opposition is ready to be united for sort of to take on the BJP, because we
Sanika,
don't think so. Yes.
We cannot see. You should be very clear. Political parties coming together for power is the last thing anybody should do. And people, as Karan was just pointing out, people can see through the political agenda of political parties. This is not some magic potion that we spin up. Political parties should come on agenda for progressive ideas, of an idea where we believe that India should be taken ahead. If we come together for power, that would be the last and the most disastrous thing for any opposition parties. Point one. Point two, I was dying to reply to Mr. Kowai. Mr. Kowai, you belong to a very proud Dravidian party. And it's very sad to see that you've become a ragdoll of the BJP today. And let me also remind you, Anna, the people like Jayalalitha and MGR would be twisting and turning in their graves today. Point two, I think you should be educated before you ask the country to be educated of what is dynasty or what is dynastical politics. The Karnataka chief minister that your prime minister and home minister and the whole BJP is trying to repeat them as a chief minister is a dynasty itself, okay? And the last month when Mr. Sangma was sworn in as the chief minister in Meghalaya, his father is a very famous P.S. Sangma. He is a dynasty also. One of your only ally parties left is your Apna Dal, which is a dynastical party. If you do not know anything else to speak about, please educate yourself and what we are speaking about, and then come to dynastical politics and what is happening and what is not. Point three, Niranjan, now that I know I would not get my time again, let me tell you, we as a country, we have become something, we are plagued with a disease called selective outrage. The reason I say this, yesterday we are talking about the civil unrest in Bengal, when one community was hurling stones at the other community. There is an outrage, obviously there should be. But we do not see a similar outrage, at least especially in the media or in the political circles, when a mosque was burned down in Bihar. And when in Hyderabad, one of the ex-BJP leaders here called Raja Singh took out a rally in Sri Ram Navami, used all kind of filthy language against the community.
Did you arrest him?
He brought out the photo of of Godse, Nathuram Godse.
Did you arrest him?
And there is no absolutely outrage on the same levels. Let me finish, Niranjan. The reason I say this is, today, see, we cannot become a country which becomes outrageous on selective terms. We cannot be relative in our criticism and reaction.
Yeah.
Today, civil unrest will not happen in this country. This is a civilized country. But we cannot be selective in our outrage.
Now, selective outrage. Now tell me something.
I need 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Okay, Kowai, I know you want to respond to him. Okay, fine. 10 seconds. I'll give you 10 seconds.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, Niranjan, this is very...
Everybody
I'm coming to
understand what
Sham. I'm coming
dynasty
to you.
is, my dear
Wait.
friends.
Next.
Father, son, grandson, great-grandson getting to the helm of affairs to run the party and the state is what dynasty. And look at UPA going bonkers moment we say Parivarvad. And when I connected this civil unrest for the benefit of self and Parivarvad, they want me to be get educated. I'm talking about my party, where a grassroots level worker has become a general secretary. There is no Parivarvad in my party. There is no father, son. It's okay, fine. Let me finish. I didn't interfere when you were speaking. So Parivarvad hits them hard. They want to hit BJP hard. So let them choose their narrative. But what I see is the civil unrest is instigated only for the benefit of the Parivarvad, not for the nation, not for the people. They have lost the voice. The Parivarvad dynasty rulers have lost the voice. They don't stand for the people anymore. They stand for the money they looted. They want to safeguard the money they looted.
No, there is historical proof. Yeah, Kowai, I'll tell you. I'll get in Sham Meka and the BJP. Rajgopalan can respond to Sham. But see, my question is, you see, historically, I'll tell you, every time these anarchy lovers, or lovers of anarchy have tried to sort of, see Sham, I'll tell you, there's historical proof, okay? Ayodhya verdict, they try to defame the judiciary, they try to trigger violence. Some call for protests openly. Some parties, okay? You can do your research on that. Anti-CA protests, less said the better. Your party was at the forefront of it. Shaheen Bagh, we know which party leaders were on stage, right? Delhi riots, we know which parties were on the streets and who called people on the streets.
On the terraces.
On terraces, yeah, on terraces, now suspended. Right? Official leaders of parties, elected representatives throwing petrol bombs. Wait. And the farmers' protest, right? parties try to hijack the protest completely and incite violence, and in fact they use historically, tell me if I'm wrong, didn't the Aam Aadmi Party use the farmers' protest to form the government in Punjab? You being a Congress party leader should admit that they did that. So every party loves a riot, loves a civil unrest. Accept it.
Niranjan, only 1 second. Can I
Are
come
we
in?
adding BJP
Yes.
to that point too?
After Sham. Sham and then Rajgopalan ji.
See, Niranjan, okay, thanks for finally giving me my go.
You started, Sham. Come on, you can't complain. I give you uninterrupted at the beginning. You started the debate.
Okay,
Don't
that's fine.
get greedy, Sham.
My problem is actually we are hitting a tangent after tangent and deviating from the topic. Perhaps apart from me, only Sanika is the only person who is trying to be on the topic. Okay, let's move on. Now, you listed out so many things. I can also list out things. That's not the problem. See, you mentioned Ayodhya verdict and mud thrown on judiciary. First of all, before the Ayodhya verdict came, the anarchists who brought down the Babri Mosque need to answer, right? Similarly, you talk about farmer protests, the anarchists who mowed down the farmers of this country with a jeep.
Who went to Red Fort, sir? Who went to Red Fort?
I can also list out. That's not our topic.
Who are these peaceful people at Red Fort?
As far as India is concerned, we are a robust democracy. We have an active political system. We will question issues. But that doesn't mean robust democracy doesn't mean just thinking Sab Chengasi and making the ruling party as some equivalent to God and doing their bhajan every day.
Nobody's God, sir. Nobody's God. Nobody said that.
We built, and I am proud to say as a congressman, Congress has a huge part in building this robust democracy and democratic culture in this country.
Mr. Meka, you're saying
you're talking about.
You know, it's good to hear a Congress leader say that India is a robust democracy.
He just admitted there's a democracy is completely
Especially when their leaders are going abroad and saying that democracy is under assault.
Rajgopalan, he just said democracy is fine.
Wants to come in. Yes, Mr. Rajgopalan.
He's contradicting his Supreme Leader, Rahul Gandhi.
Can I just come in?
Yes.
Niranjan, Mr. Sham should be made as...
Zafar next. Rajgopalan is speaking, yes.
Can I just come in? Let
Rajgopalan go for 30 seconds, I'll come to you. Yeah.
Shyam should be made as Congress president, not Rahul Gandhi, because he admires democracy. Apart from that, now let us come to the debate. The Center for Policy Research, FCRA, NGO was getting funds from George Soros, Amnesty International. So these are all the unrest created, implemented, designed, directed by foreign hands. So therefore, you cannot blame Indian unrest. And second thing, in the regional parties, there is an unrest now. Now, KCR wants to become Bharat Rashtriya Samiti. Trinamool Congress wants to contest in Goa. JDU wants to contest in Meghalaya. And Sharad Pawar wants to contest in Meghalaya. That's a welcome sign. That is the dance of democracy. The regional parties should they should leave the unrest and go pan-Indian attitude. Like, my understanding is, now the regional parties will play a major role in 2024, demeaning Congress to the lowest level, and Congress has become an extra luggage for them.
Yeah, Zafar want to come in. Zafar, last word to Zafar and Manojit. Manojit, 30 seconds to Zafar, 30 seconds to Manojit. Zafar, he wanted to respond to, he's been hearing all the allegations thrown at his party.
I think I heard the Congress, no. Now, first of all, I'm happy to hear that the Congress spokesperson is saying that it's a robust democracy.
Yeah.
I think he should also convey this to his supreme leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who is propagating falsely. And now, I'm not saying he, in fact, his own spokesperson is saying that he is falsely propagating in foreign land that democracy is in danger in India. No, at least he needs to be corrected. Don't shout. Listen to me. I'm praising you for at least having the courage to say something which is actually correct. Your boss was making a story, concocting a story which is away from reality.
Don't feel ashamed to say the truth, Sham. It's okay. You called it a robust democracy. You don't feel ashamed to say the truth. It's okay.
So I complimented you. I complimented you for having said something which is factually correct. That democracy is a vibrant democracy, robust democracy, something you said, and everybody knows except your boss, and he is putting a country in the dock. Unfortunately, the country is putting him in the dock and asking him to apologize. Second thing, people are talking about different things. Different people are talking about different things. But what is this topic today? Whether protest. See, I am saying keeping the democracy is in danger of the statement made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi and many other opposition leaders. Let me tell you one thing. We definitely have vibrant democracy. Protest is something which is permitted in democracy, and everybody has right to speak up. But when you are doing what you are doing in many parts of the country, particularly in West Bengal, the way TMC government, instead of controlling and law and order situation, maintaining the law and order situation, they are letting their goons to attack
at least.
the honorary Karyakarta in West Bengal, in Howrah.
Zafar, can
And many other places, opposition leaders are resorting to violence. While protest is permitted, violence is not, and that is they are resorting to violence and trying to create civil unrest. But we will not let it happen. This is their design, but we will fail them in their design.
Manojit is responding to you. Manojit, 30 seconds.
I need 10 seconds, Niranjan.
No,
please.
Niranjan, the problem is fundamentals of Indian democracy are very strong. We know that. You try your best to curtail civil liberty, people will reply to you. They did it in 1975 and they will do it 2024 as well. We believe this government is using the government machineries as tools of oppression to curtail civil liberty. In the name of fighting corruption, they are curtailing opposition leaders' liberty. Look at the number of opposition leaders now in jail or hounded by by their long arms. There lies the problem with democracy.
So who are you defending?
It's not the question of agitation on the street.
Manojit, who are you defending?
While you are using the government apparatuses as tools of oppression.
No, but who in jail are you defending?
There lies the problem.
Who
in the
in jail
name
are
of
you
fighting
defending?
corruption.
Manojit, be specific. Who in jail are you defending? You just said opposition leaders in jail. Which leader in jail are you defending?
Many opposition leaders. Many opposition leaders are languishing. They are languishing in jail without conviction. What I'm saying is a fact. Most of them from TMC. You are even hounding out my General Secretary, Mr. Abhishek Banerjee and his family.
Are you defending Anubhrata Mandal?
Because you want to curtail his civil liberty. Because you are scared of Abhishek Banerjee. That's why you want to curtail his civil liberty by using your government machinery. There lies the problem with this democracy. And we will contest it.
Okay, off track again. Off track.
Like Mamata Banerjee and many others. The democracy will survive.
Okay, Meka, I'll give you 10 seconds. Sham, okay, I have to end this 10 seconds. I have to end. Sham, 10 seconds. I have to end it.
Also inside the parliament.
Okay. See, the thing is, India is a robust democracy because Congress party at the forefront of fighting for it. We see the challenges, and that's what our leader is also doing.
Don't make amendments to your statement. Don't make amendments to your statement. Don't make amendments to your statement.
Try and play these tactical games.
Don't make amendments to your statement. Now you got caught. You spoke the truth. You got caught. You spoke the truth, and don't make amendments to your statement. No. You got caught. Don't make amendments to your statement. You celebrated Indian democracy, and then you just got caught.
Of course.
And you try to amend your statement.
Of course,
we have a robust democracy. Let me end by making one point. I'll tell you. Let me make. Okay, Karan, 10 seconds. I have to end. Karan, 10 seconds. I have to end. Karan, 10 seconds. 10 seconds. I have to end. Yeah.
Professor Mandal was waxing eloquent about curtailing civil liberties. A professor in Jadavpur University was put for 11 years in the jail just for forwarding a cartoon. That is what you call
Karan, I won't even get into. Karan, I won't even get into. Okay. Yeah, curtailing civil liberties, I'll tell you. Curtailing civil liberties.
It is Mamata government that is curtailing
one second. Please don't stretch the debate. Nice attempt to stretch the debate. I'll end. No, don't please.
You are exposed.
1 minute.
You was in jail for only 12 hours, 11
Okay,
hours.
nice attempt to stretch the debate. I have to end it. Nice attempt to stretch the debate. I have to end it. Don't do that. No, nice attempt to stretch the debate, but I'll have to end it. Okay, but let me remind, and I'll end by telling both Manojit and Sham you all are waxing eloquent about civil liberties. You know how many FIRs both in Bengal and by the Vadra Congress, you know how many FIRs between you all have filed against Republic, and you all are talking about civil liberties. You all are talking about civil liberties. Let's talk about freedom of speech and civil liberties. Please don't give us gyan. Don't give us gyan. Thank you very much. We'll meet again. We'll meet again. Thank you very much. We'll meet again. Thank you, Zafar. Bye.
And with that was the weekend debate this Saturday on the politics of civil unrest. News and updates follow on the other side.
Thanks for watching.
Troubled with the words that they've used, Mr. Something. Are you troubled with the words? I'm asking.
And that is Christian Michel. First visual on your scene. Christian, would you want to speak? Christian, would you give facts to India? Chidambaram has been arrested right now. That's me, Chidambaram right now. He's been arrested. Mr. Vazir, because it was a case, I believe that was closed by the police itself. They're trying to stop us.
NIA की टीम बाजे को लेकर यहाँ पहुंची है क्योंकि एविडेंसेस डिस्ट्रॉय किए गए थे इसी
200 to 300 supporters are gathered here at Bhajar trying to stop. Today the whole nation is looking at you. What exactly are your thoughts? Why must On the intervening night of 28th and 29th, Amritpal Singh and Papalpreet Singh has been tracked in Hoshiarpur area. They were escaping from Fagwada to Hoshiarpur, and in the midway, the counter-intelligence team has chased their location and they were being chased. But they have taken a left turn from the highway and then they have went inside a village where they have abandoned their car in a Gurdwara and managed to flee in the agriculture fields. But after that, we are just standing in the same village, and after that there was a heavy police deployment in the same area till now. Paramilitary forces has also been deployed, and even the police force is also been deployed, and even the search is still underway. The search in these areas are still underway, and in fact this is you can see the paramilitary forces has been deployed at the entrance and the